This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
(6:45). This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here is the news edited by Lal Malawarachi and read by J. Yogaraj. For the headlines. The Prime Minister is scheduled to make a special statement about the country's economy. The supplementary estimate of more than 69 billion rupees will be presented in Parliament today. The government is to provide foreign employment opportunities to public servants. The Colombo port has been ranked as the most efficient port in South Asia. The CEB is taking measures to stop the power cuts presently experienced in the country. News overseas: Boris Johnson wins a vote but suffers a large Tory rebellion. In sports, the first T20 match between Sri Lanka and Australia will be played at R. Premdasa Stadium today. And those are the headlines. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe is scheduled to submit a Parliament today a supplementary estimate of 69.5 billion rupees to maintain essential state services without interruption. The Parliament will meet today at 10 a.m. Secretary General of Parliament Dhammika Dasanayake said that the debate on the supplementary estimate will be held until 5:30 p.m. today. After presenting the supplementary estimate, the Prime Minister is scheduled to make a special statement about the country's economy. Mr. Dasanayake said that the provisions under the 8th clause of the Appropriation Bill 2020 are scheduled to be passed after taking for debate today. The Parliament is scheduled to meet until the 10th of this month. Public servants seeking employment abroad are now given the opportunity to submit their information to the Foreign Employment Bureau through the website. Manusha Nanekara, Minister of Labour and Foreign Employment, yesterday requested the foreign employment agencies to bring suitable employment opportunities to the country for public servants seeking employment abroad. The government is taking steps to provide foreign employment opportunities to public servants under the expeditious program implemented to find a solution to the current crisis by increasing remittances from migrant workers to Sri Lanka. The minister said that he was working closely with other ministers to issue a circular stating that when public servants go abroad for employment, it does not affect their pensions and seniority. During the discussion with the foreign employment agencies, attention was focused on their potential contribution to increase foreign exchange in Sri Lanka, and steps will be taken to address their concerns. This news comes to you from Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
The medical insurance plan that begins at the age of 60. Medi60 from Sri Lanka Insurance.
The port of Colombo has been ranked as the most efficient port in South Asia and Indian subcontinent, 3rd in the Indian Ocean Rim and 22nd among 370 ports globally in the 2nd edition of the Global Container Port Performance Index, CPPI 2021, ranking developed by the World Bank and S&P Global Market Intelligence and Financial Services. This technical report, which represents the 2nd edition of the Container Port Performance Index CPPI, has been produced by the Transport Global Practice of the World Bank in collaboration with the Maritime Trade and Supply Chain Division of S&P Global Market Intelligence. The United States, in coordination with Sri Lankan Navy, the Sri Lankan Coast Guard and 12 other Sri Lankan agencies responsible for environmental conservation and disaster response, launched a US-funded oil spill response workshop and exercise. This 5-day workshop from 6 June to 10th aims to strengthen the Sri Lanka's ability to respond to oil spills and other maritime accidents. It will include training on how to respond to disasters at sea quickly and effectively, how to measure and minimize environmental damage resulting from oil spills, and how to keep first responders safe during disaster response operations. This workshop is in addition to a previous US-funded training that was organized in response to Express Pearl fire in May 2021, one of the worst environmental disasters in Sri Lankan history. Minister Prasanna Ranatunga has been sentenced to 2 years rigorous imprisonment, suspended for a period of 5 years by the Colombo High Court yesterday in the case filed against him over the Meetotumulla land dispute. Meanwhile, the minister was also imposed a fine of 25 million rupees by the Colombo High Court, which was ordered that failure to pay the fine carries an additional 9 months imprisonment. In addition, the court further ordered Minister Ranatunga to pay a compensation of 1 million rupees to the accuser, a businessman, and declared that if he fails to pay the compensation, he will be sentenced to an additional 3 months imprisonment. And that's local news.
The medical insurance plan that begins at the age of 60. Medi60 from Sri Lanka Insurance. A health insurance plan to honor our most valued elders by the protectors of the nation. We now give our treasured senior citizens access to the very best medical insurance, specially tailored for anyone over 60. What's more, you don't need medical screening to access this policy. And Medi60 covers a wide range of illnesses. Only from Sri Lanka Insurance. Call 0112 357 357.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Chairman of the Ceylon Electricity Board, MMC Ferdinando, says that it is not needed to fully operate and full-powered power plants at present. Due to the heavy rainfall experienced in the country, the power generation from the hydropower station is considerably higher at present. He says that the board is taking action to stop the power cuts presently experienced in the country. And that was top news.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
In Washlight, Inspector General of Police C.D. Vikramaratne has instructed senior police officers and divisional accountants to reduce the amount of fuel issued to senior police officers and all police vehicles by 20% from the 1st of this month. The IGP had earlier instructed all senior police officers in a circular dated 11th of April to reduce the amount of fuel issued to police vehicles by 15% in order to economically use the electricity and fuel. And that was Washlight. And in world news headlines, Boris Johnson wins vote but suffers large Tory rebellion. Another Russian top general was killed during heavy fighting in Ukraine. British geologist jailed in Iraq after taking artifacts. And those are the headlines of world news. Prime Minister Boris Johnson has won the backing of the majority of Tory MPs in a confidence vote despite a significant revolt against his leadership. The PM won 59% of the vote, meaning he is now immune from a Conservative leadership challenge for a year. In all, 211 Tory MPs voted they had confidence in the PM's leadership, while 148 voted against him. Mr. Johnson described his confidence vote win as decisive. Russian state media has confirmed the death of one of the Moscow's top generals during heavy fighting in Ukraine's eastern Donbas region. Major General Roman Kutuzov was killed leading an assault on a Ukrainian settlement in the region, a reporter with the state-owned Russia said. Alexander Sladlov and General Kutov had been commanding troops from the self-declared Donetsk People's Republic. A retired British geologist has been jailed for 15 years for attempting to remove artifacts from Iraq. Fitton, 66, who is originally from Bath, collected 12 stones and shards of broken pottery during a recent geology and archaeology tour of the country. Mr. Fitton has insisted he had no idea he was breaking Iraqi laws. So that's world news. In development news, Sri Lanka's oil refinery in Sapukasanda will supply 800 metric tons of diesel to the market from yesterday after being closed for over 2 months due to a lack of crude oil and a technical glitch, report said. The refinery that had been closed for over 2 months due to a lack of crude oil recommenced operations on May 27th, but has been out of a commission for a week due to a technical issue in one of its burners. And that was development news.
Sports news is brought to you by
Sampath Bank. We present your future.
The first T20 match between Sri Lanka and Australia will be played at R. Premdasa Stadium today. The match begins at 7 p.m. as Sri Lankan T20 skipper Darshan Shanaka says that they are well prepared to take up the Australian challenge and win the T20 series. The experienced all-rounder Shanaka said the team puts up a good fight against Australia during the T20 series in Australia last February, and this time with the home advantage, they are ready to take on the world T20 champions, and said skipper Darshan Shanaka. And this time there are players excelled at the IPL, and that is a good advantage for us. Vanidu Asaranga and champion leg spinner Mahesh Theekshana, the mystery spinner, experienced Dushmantha Chameera and young Matisha Patirana are now top-class players, while hard-hitting Bhanuka Rajapaksa also in good form, and two talented players Pathum Nishanka and Charit Asalanka have come back after recovering from their injuries. That was sports news.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The maximum retail price of 50 kilogram bag of cement has been increased by 150 rupees with immediate effect, the cement manufacturers and importers said. They said the revised price of a bag of cement now stands at 3,000 rupees. The decision was made following the current dollar crunch and the fuel price increase. And that was Business News.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Economic news, courtesy of
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
The Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority SLTDA has presented a short, medium and long-term tourism revival plan leading up to March 2023 in a bid to attract 800,000 to 850,000 tourists this year. Focusing on key source markets through joint promotional efforts, SLTDA Chairman Priyantha Fernando says the authority received many calls from airlines as well as extending their support to promote joint promotions. And that was Economic News.
LOLC Finance is taking the power of innovation to the next level, winning 5 goals at the Technovation Awards 2022, leading the digital revolution with cutting-edge interbanking digital payments. LOLC Finance claims the overall Gold Award whilst also claiming an extraordinary victory in digital banking. LOLC Finance will continue to innovate with the next generation digitalization of financial services, delivering a superior customer experience.
Finally, in the weather report, the Met Department says showers will occur at times in western Sabrakamur provinces and in Kandy, Nuwara Eliya, Galle and Mathura districts. Several space of showers will occur in northwestern province. And before we wind up this news broadcast, let's look at the main points. Once again, the Prime Minister is scheduled to make a special statement about the country's economy. The supplementary estimate for more than 69 billion rupees will be presented in Parliament today. The government is to provide foreign employment opportunities to public servants. The Colombo port has been ranked as the most efficient port in South Asia. The CEB is taking measures to stop the power cuts presently experienced in the country. News overseas, Boris Johnson wins vote but suffers a large Tory rebellion. In sports, the first T20 match between Sri Lanka and Australia will be played at R. Premdas Stadium today. And with that, we conclude this morning news podcast of Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.